Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hey, hello.
Hello.
Is it a holiday in Germany, Max?
In parts of Germany, yeah.
Okay.
So I'm actually affected by that, but still joining.
Okay.
In
Yeah, I
India,
think-
it's Wednesday, so it's holiday here also.
Yeah, I would say I think there's a few holidays here going around.
Also, France has.
Yeah, I think France as well. So we'll be missing a few people today. But that's okay. That just means we can probably have a quick meeting. Let's give it another minute or two and then we'll get started. All right, I think we can go ahead and get started. I know there's still several people that haven't joined, but I believe that just may be because of all the holidays. Okay, so I know Amar is still on PTO, so we'll skip the PTL updates. Release updates. Govin, Daljit.
Yeah, sure. Can you see my share here?
Yeah, I can see
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, thank you. So this is as per the last release meeting notes. There are a few more updates. I just saw the messages from Max. So as a blocker for 1.8 release, we had 3 outstanding issues. So not 3, I think 4 here. And all the issues are resolved on master, and one of the issue based on the discussion with Shruti, the MME leak is not a issue at all. So it's a third party component and not part of the Magma. So we have marked it as not relevant. All the other issues are resolved. I think even the intake test is also resolved, I think, right?
And they are already backported, and the build all job is right now generating new Debian packages with these changes included.
Oh, it's backported already. Okay. All these PRs are backported, Max?
All 3 listed here are backported, yeah.
Oh, great. Okay, and so Max, you had a question about what are the other PRs that have to be backported. You mentioned that you backported 6 PRs. So I think that is something Wavelabs team have to comment. Apart from those 6 PRs, is there anything that we have to backport, Yogesh or Daljit?
Sure. When I didn't get a chance to look at it, I just had a high level. I'll update if there is anything to be backported. Yeah.
Okay.
Yogesh, we were saying IPv6 PR need to be backported, right? Is there
Yes.
anything-
Yes. That is the only thing I can remember.
Yeah.
There is nothing else.
Okay. Yeah. Please take a look and
Yes. I'll have a look.
we can discuss offline. And
Sure.
There's also a new PR raised that has the candidate for backporting label, and there is so changes to Helm chart bugs, and I think also Shubham is working on Helm chart related tickets that might be worth backporting, but they can bring them up in the discussion then.
Yeah.
Okay. And Max also had a question that whether the backporting can be done manually. Is it still valid, Max? You already did some backporting manually, right?
I started backporting manually to get built with the changes that were easy to backport or that were, I think, discussed already. And that was done. And now the CI is building again.
Okay.
But we need to have a long-term solution for the next things to backport. I can do
Okay.
that manually, but maybe an automatism would be great.
Okay, I mean, that's definitely not for 1.8, right? In the after 1.8, we can actually see how we can actually discuss about the eligible candidates that can be backported for subsequent releases. For 1.8, whatever we have agreed, right? We'll be manually merging it, right, Max?
I think that discussion goes a little bit off topic, and we should try to get a strategic vision or strategic understanding of the state of the releasing, and low-level technical stuff. We can discuss that out of the sync and in the release channel. And I would be more interested in how is the release coming around, how are we on testing, what's the roadmap, what's the progress, and
Okay, we can discuss that offline. Yeah. And the next question is about the compatibility between the orchestrator version and the AGW version. So there are a few combinations, right? Orchestrator 1.8 have to work with AGW 1.7. I came to know through Shubham that AGW 1.8 need not work with orchestrator 1.7. Right? So are these requirements part of the release guidelines? This is something that we have to discuss offline as well, the different combinations of AGW and orchestrator. So in the last release meeting, we have made Wavelabs as the owner for this. So Yogesh, I hope you are aware of this.
Yeah, meaning mix and match combination generally we don't do. Like, 1.8 orchestrator, 1.8 AGW. We generally stick to it.
the reason
But,
for this, so sorry for interrupting you. The reason for this is that the link that is linked here describes that orchestrator is able to work with the previous access gateway version. And if we don't test that, we need to modify that documentation and update that, or we need to test it. And as it is a capability right now that is mentioned, it would be a regression or a step back that we would need to make transparent.
okay. Yeah, I'll check with the testing team if they have any plans. Yeah, I'll update Govind.
All right, thanks,
the-
Yogesh. Yep. And
Yeah, I have to add one more thing. When we release the upgrade notes, we mentioned that first upgrade the orchestrator, then upgrade your access gateway. So we have to specify this.
okay.
Okay, so if I understand you correctly, Shubham, it's a requirement for the orchestrator to be able to work with the access gateway 1.7 until it is upgraded. So it's something we need to test and we
Yeah,
need to validate.
So if both are on 1.7, first update the orchestrator to 1.8.
Yeah.
See if that's working. Mostly it's working. Then update your access gateways to 1.8.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think we have the upgrade path in the testing document or in the release validation. So this thing here is probably contained in that.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Moving to the DevOps section. So the Docker package images and the third-party packages, they will be manually uploaded in the JFrog. Adding CI job for it to update it through the CI automation is difficult. So the decision is to go ahead with manually uploading these packages for 1.8. And for x86, Docker images are automatically pushed through GHA. And after the release branch is cut, there are few test performance test and sanity test that needs to be run. Wave Labs will be doing the 5G performance test, and Radtronics will be doing the 4G performance test. And regarding the CA build job status in the Magma CA dashboard, so Tim is on vacation. Once he is back, he will be working on fixing this issue so that ARM CA build status will appear in the Magma CA dashboard. So that is work in progress. And there are few cosmetic changes. Once the JFrog location is changed, the install scripts have to be updated with the location, and that is with me. I have to create a PR for that. And yeah, performance test we already discussed, and documentation. So we are planning to update the features that will be supported in the release notes. Yogesh and me will be updating the feature list. And I think Freedom 5 also has the domain proxy related updates, which will go into the release notes. And the last thing is about the timeline for 1.8 release. So tentatively, we assumed it's going to take 3 weeks for the 5G performance test. And 4G performance test, they will be commenting in next week how long they are going to take, because they are new to run this test. They have done it with their traffic generator and not with Ixia. So we'll get an estimate in the upcoming week. So roughly we are thinking 3 weeks after the branch was cut. So that's it.
Okay.
Yep.
We are already 1 week after the branch is cut, so there are 2 weeks left. Where are we on this timeline, and what is the roadmap for testing, and who is tackling the stuff that is not mentioned here, like sanity tests, upgrade tests, and all the other parts that are mentioned in the
So Max, in
request.
terms of testing, there are only 2 parties here. So 4G performance test will be done by Radtronics. Rest all test cases will be covered by Wave Labs. The Terraform test, right, that you mentioned, so that will be covered through the Rebecca test tool by Wave Labs. So Yogesh, you can comment more about the test that you will be covering. If there is any gap, please bring it to notice here.
Sure. Yeah, mostly we were targeting for 5G and whatever minimum needed for orchestrators. So our focus was more 5G. So yeah, I'll let you know if there is any limitation. Yeah.
Yeah, so far the assumption is all the tests will be done by Wave Labs, and post 1.8 release branch is created, right? Yeah,
Release branch is created a week ago, so we are post creation.
that's right. So what I meant is Wave Labs is already doing the 5G perf test, and Yogesh, you mentioned that Rebecca tool is going to do some 4G test, right?
No. Only 5G test. No. Okay, Terraform is meaning, okay. There was a Terra VM test tool.
Sorry, Terra VM, sorry.
Yeah, which used to do 5G test. We have replaced everything with Rebecca. So we will be covering the Terra VM test for 5G. Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
For me, that is still not. I still don't understand it. Can I steal screen sharing just?
Yeah.
To if I just share this. This is the outline of the release validation doc for 1.7. And it mentions like install upgrade tests for access gateway bare metal and install in cloud with Cloud Strapper and Terraform. Who will do these tests? Also, who will test all the features that we are mentioning in the release notes that they are working? I think we need to do all these tests, or these need to be done. They need to be put in a release validation doc, and we need to have a timeline and a commitment for that. And I just hear 5G and 4G performance and nothing else. That's what I would like to understand.
Looks like orchestrator. We are not sure who is working on that, right? The
Yeah, that's
install
correct.
and for the feature testing, it's for 5G portion alone. It's going to be Wave Labs, and for other test, only performance 4G performance will be covered by Radtonics. Is there anything other than 4G performance test that is missing?
I think
Right.
we have sanity, feature, performance, and availability. So
And
4G features is not covered by Radtonics or by the commitment from.
Yeah.
So 4G feature testing is still open. And okay, maybe we need to dig deeper into that, but I think there are still some gaps that I would like to see or to understand how the roadmap looks like, and how the how we will keep up with the timeline of 3 weeks. Okay.
I think yeah, we can discuss that offline. Other than 4G performance test, feature test, and sanity test, so far there is no owner. Looks like, so we have to figure out who can do that. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it from my side, Kendall. Yep.
Thank you. Next, DevOps updates. I know y'all said Tim is on PTO. Shubham, do you have updates?
No, mostly the updates like Max and Govinda is covered. So I'm working on the Helm chart fix. Me and Max just had a call before this. So I'm working on Terraform and Helm side. The CI part, that when Tim will be back, we'll get updates from him. And that's it.
Thank you. There won't be a testing update because I know Tian said he is on vacation. No outreach updates unless there's anything, Shubham, you would like to add.
No updates.
All right, then we will go to Lucas for security update.
Great, thank you. So here are notes. First of all, looking through the security dashboard using SNCC, what we're seeing is that we're doing a good job of closing vulnerabilities. Still a long way to go, but we're definitely active and making a mark. We're in the top 10 list in the Linux Foundation. So thanks to everybody for putting in that time and getting us moving there. The next agenda item is the security disclosure that we are working on last week. So first thing is that I propose to add a acknowledgements section in the README to acknowledge security researchers and encourage them to keep doing that in the future. I have a pull request in, this is instead of having a Hall of Fame or necessarily issuing a security advisory. Does anybody have thoughts on that?
I think it's nice. As far as I saw it, it's just lists names without in which area they had impact or something like that. It might be fine, might be sufficient. But
sounds good. Yeah, it is only names, unfortunately, because otherwise we might be disclosing things we don't want to disclose. But sounds good. Okay, so next item, Shruti created this poll to remove the Express Wi-Fi code. A good call. And kind of goes to the general risk of security exposure as a result of the sheer surface area of Magma and you know, the prospect for features that are out there that are not being maintained. Anybody want to discuss this item? it is uncontroversial.
Yeah, that's much, right?
The JBoss server that we discussed, I am still tracking this down, talked about it with AWS. They connected me to these folks, and I'll continue working on making this go away. There is a Matilon server that I think is out of scope for us. It's not really anything we can do about it. And once we remove the Express Wi-Fi code, it won't affect us, though it might affect people who have been using it in the past, which seems very unlikely. There were a number of secrets expressed in the code. That was a secondary disclosure related to the same researcher. And we have a PR to delete those, and ongoing work to identify and remove secrets. We covered about 500 so far. So 2 design points that we should be looking out for unmaintained code. And number 2, that there were servers that were hard-coded, and it doesn't make sense to hard-code servers in an open source application where people don't necessarily have any relationship with those server operators. Lastly, I am done with my most active open items. I'm going to be prioritizing new things. One of the things I'm interested in is the secure deployment documentation, which might be part of 1.8. And I wonder about whether anybody is working on deployment documentation.
Yeah, so Lucas, I just created a Docker deployment for the access gateway. I've added a PR for the docs. And I also worked on the orchestrated deployment part, so we can get in sync and create a proper document for that. I also have the upgrade documents from previous releases, so I can share those documents with you.
Excellent. I'll reach out offline.
Sure.
The goal is to write that documentation directly for Dockerized Access Gateway and not for Debian package installation, right? So it's directly for the future deployment, not for the soon to be.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And you raised a point 2 weeks ago about the number of deployment approaches to document. You asked which deployment approach are we documenting and making more secure. And I think that goes to potential security risks of having so many approaches. We might want to emphasize, prioritize, pick more clear targets. So let's consider that. That's it for me.
Thanks, Lucas. Is there any new feature developments that people would like to start adding to the agenda? All right, no worries. We'll keep going. C++ migration, I believe Rashmi said she was out today, but Shruti, you'll be giving that update?
Yes, so I think just wanted to take this time to update everyone about Radix's team in general. I think on the C++ migration, progress was limited last week because Rashmi was out for most of the week, but the team has made progress on CI stability. Ankit merged a few PRs around that, and Prithvi has merged PRs around IPv6 test cases. I know there was some flakiness because of which we had to revert one of those test cases, but now the sanity test suite runs a bunch of IPv6 test cases around default and dedicated. I know non-NAT scenario has an issue which we'll work on fixing. That's there, nothing, no major progress on C++ migration.
Mm-hmm. For pull requests that are merged that fix something in the CI, one could think about whether they are worth backporting to make the release testing easier. If they fix flakiness in the CI or in the testing process, they might be worth backporting.
Would they be running the S1AP test suite as post the branch cut?
I think so, yes.
I believe, okay. Then yeah, I think that those are worth backporting. So is it enough to mark those as backport?
There's a label called candidate for backporting
Okay,
that can be added to pull requests that are worth discussing. And the
Okay.
releasing team will look at that.
okay. Thanks. That's all from my side. Oh,
Thank you,
that's to
Shruti.
add, Priti also completed her effort on the mock-in gateway specification, like coming up with the completing the design doc on all the procedures which need to be modified. I will wait for Amar to come back and comment on what are the next steps there.
Thank you, Shruti. Next, we'll go to Basil Effort Nils.
Yeah, hello everybody. Let me quickly share my screen. I have decided to try a little bit more visualize approach. I will adopt this in the future. So quickly about the agenda. What we are talking about is specifying the AGW. So development and releasing can be happening with Basil instead of Make. The legend here is something that is done in progress, not yet started, and worked on in the last iteration. So this is a very rough draft of the roadmap. So we have building, we have testing, and we have developer experience for building. Of course, all AGW service needs to be Baselified. This is done in the last iteration. The last one, the Envoy controller, the Go service was Baselified. The Debian package build is in progress, and here in the last iteration, Baselify and analyze the production Python scripts. The Docker build just started to document Bazel rules for Docker that can use for that. And the testing milestone, unit tests are completely Baselified. The integration tests and the so-called Python pseudo tests, so mainly the pipeline deep tests, workflow, we have a workflow that runs in CI on the Baselified artifacts. This was happening before. In progress, we have tests are executed with Bazel, the integration tests. And in the last iteration or iterations, the pre-commit, extended, and non-sanity tests were Baselified. In progress, also test run versus Debian-based environment. There's a pull request by Cameron and me open for such an environment, and not yet started is to test versus a Docker-based environment. Load tests are not yet started. Coverage calculation is in progress, and the OAI Jenkins was verified also. For developer experience, we have two important points. The documentation, this is happening step by step while we are migrating, and the remote caches that make working locally and in CI much faster. One thing that does not really belong to this roadmap that came up while working on this is an issue I just opened, and I just want to quickly advertise that for feedback. We have like 50 Python scripts that are deployed in a production environment, and this issue is an approach to consolidate them. So there are a lot of issues with the script, and it might be a larger endeavor to work on that. Maybe it's even worth a proposal. So if you have any feedback, not now, but for these production scripts, feel free to add comments to this issue. That's it from my side. Any questions or comments?
Thanks, and great that the AGW services are now completely Baselified. That's a nice milestone.
Thanks. Okay, then that's it from my side. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Nils. Data path updates, Nick, Yogesh.
Nothing on my end.
Yeah, nothing from my side. Del.
Okay. Thank you. And roadmap update, Max.
There was no movement in the larger roadmap in the last week, so nothing big to update there, and also nothing long term that has moved.
Okay, thank you. And then next we have proposals. I guess those are both from you, Max.
Yeah, I missed to add myself as an owner. So there are two proposals. The first one is to enable yet another end-to-end test or CI test run to the list of required checks. And we decided at some point that this needs to go through TSC. And I think that, I'm not sure if we, I think we did a vote on that. I don't think we are enough, or am I wrong with that? I don't know. Maybe we are sufficient to discuss that. It's the, or to vote on that. It's the proposal to make the NMS end-to-end test required. And that just checks some sanity stuff is green for a long time and is a good candidate to make required. I don't think that it needs any more discussions than that. Do we have quorum?
Yeah, we do actually.
So I don't know if that was sufficient introduction to, or if I introduced it sufficiently, or if we want to look into that deeper. But I would say I would like to start a vote and say, hey, I would try to vote for making NMS end-to-end tests required. Does anyone want to second that?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 I
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstains? Okay, perfect.
Yep.
Thank you.
The second proposal I brought with me today is there's this dash source folder or slash source folder in the top level of our source tree. And it's actually unused as far as I know. It's not actively developed. It contains readmes that are very broad and say this is the one and only location for all new Go code, for example, which I think was an endeavor or something that tried to restructure our source structure. But as far as I understood, that wasn't finished and isn't pushed anymore. And I think that this folder is very confusing, since if I find a top-level source folder, it's something where I expect source code or relevant source code, but that is wrong. It contains a subfolder called gateway /go, but that is not the Go gateway, or that is not the gateway itself. And so I would like to discuss, or my goal is to propose to remove that folder, or to move it to experimental or something like that, to not have a top-level source folder that is not used. And I think that might require more discussion. I would be interested in feedback on that.
Right. So I think a relevant question for TSC is, do we envision this was an effort which was left midway, and now we have to rethink whether we want a Go-based implementation in the future. If I were to prioritize what the project needs today is stability and adoption more than refactoring. We are doing a few refactors here already, like the basilification effort, the C++ migration, and that would get us to a much more stable code base than starting to rebuild the services from scratch. So net, my vote is to get rid of this effort and just focus on wider adoption of Magma.
I think that this goes to the issue of having unmaintained code and projects that aren't active and that might be harboring security issues without having visibility because nobody's really looking at it. So I think that this directory is creating risks.
Do we have any other comments on that? Does someone know how much work we lose by removing that folder? Okay. Do we need more discussion or more time around that topic? Is that something that should be discussed with others that worked on that code base? I have no overview. I think it happened before I started.
Right, it would be worth checking with the authors if they would like to archive this in some form, just to not lose the effort. Right, so we can comment on the issue and request like Mark Jen, Li. Those would be the two people who were working on this in the past, and it would be worth getting their feedback on that issue. I can also put them internally.
Mark and Eli?
Li.
What is his GitHub username? I don't find him. Maybe you can send that in Slack, then I will add a comment. Okay, that was that topic. I will bring it up next week or the week after, depending on feedback and responses. Good. Anything else? Any other topic? Anyone wants to bring something up?
All right, if not, then we can go ahead and end early. Thank you, everyone. And if you joined on a holiday, I appreciate it. Next time we can definitely cancel if there are enough people that aren't able to make it. But yeah, everyone have a great rest of your week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye now.